Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of this F1 2014 career. This is season 3. We are running a full F1 2015 mod, and I know obviously that in the official F1 2015 calendar, the Chinese Grand Prix precedes the Bahrain Grand Prix, but in this particular mod it is still third on the schedule, and there's not too much that we can do about that. We have been putting some improvements into the car so far. We have done some testing that should ensure about 10% less tire wear, and boy do we need exactly that. We have been suffering quite a bit with tire wear, especially late in the race so far. And I'm also going to experiment with a setup here during practice that should hopefully get us a little extra life out of the tires, hopefully, especially the option tires. So we are going to see where that takes us here during practice. And if all goes well, we are going to be using this setup for qualifying and race as well. Practice seemed to go well, so we are jumping right ahead here to Q1. This is going to be our first lap, and we are putting in a 133.746 here on the prime tire. That is definitely going to be good enough to get us into Q2, so we're just going to be easing back to the pits. And as you can see, we are in a best time here for Q1. Like I said, definitely enough to get us into Q2. Jumping right ahead to Q2, we are now out on the option tire here, and logically we should be a little bit faster in this particular session. We are hoping that we can, just keep it at this one lap and save the tires here, but we'll have to see where it takes us before we make any final decision. 132.951, well, not quite as fast as I had hoped for, but still more than fast enough to get us into Q3. Diving head first here into Q3. This has felt like a fast lap so far, but we're going to have to wait and see where we end up. 132.471, that is our fastest lap of the weekend so far, but as you can see, both the Mercs there, Hamilton and Rosberg, faster than us. So we are going to be staying out for an additional lap here, see if we can improve on it. And on a side note there, you can see Sebastian Vettel, our teammate, is now on pole, 131.781. Definitely got the pace up for this qualifying session. We managed to improve on our time slightly, but it is not enough to improve our overall starting position on the grid. And although we stay out for a third lap here trying to improve on our time, we are unable to do so, even though the car is as light as it can possibly be, as we have been running out of fuel for a lap and a half right now. A 132.791, that is not going to get us anywhere, and we are just going to have to settle for fourth on the grid for tomorrow's race. So here we are getting ready for the start. Sebastian Vettel on pole, Lewis Hamilton behind him directly ahead of us. Rosberg is on a left shoulder in the third slot there, and we are getting out of the gate here in a very, very impressive fashion there. Rosberg appears as though he's standing still next to us. We are already up into second place here, and gonna dive down the inside of Hamilton there as we touch wheels coming through turn 1, and Hamilton appears to be cut off by Vettel as well. It appears that we have one of the Williams cars into the second slot right now, running in P2 as we are in P1. Locking up the front right here, heading into turn 4. We have Massa directly behind us here, but we are still holding our own. And with Vettel into P3 right now, we have the two Mercedes cars running 4th and 5th, and I'm not sure they expected that here on lap 1 of the Bahrain Grand Prix. And looking at the mini-map there, that huge pileup we saw in turn 1 appears to have split the pack into 3 parts, as we have the leading pack of the 5 cars there, and a huge pack there, middle pack, and a couple of trailers there, 3 or 4 of them, and judging by the looks of their pace, they appear to have some damage and are probably going to be heading into the pits as we come back on the main straight. Anyway, lap 1 status report. Here we are into P1. We have Massa in P2. About a second behind us, Vettel is in hot pursuit, and he has the 2 Mercs of Hamilton and Rosberg immediately behind him. Jumping ahead to lap 3, Massa is still into P2 as we are opening up a slight gap on him as he is still being put under heavy pressure, it seems, by Sebastian Vettel. But what is more interesting, if you look at the mini-map there, you can see both the Mercs of Rosberg and Hamilton have dropped off dramatically, and I'm not really sure what's going on with the 2 Mercs there at the moment. It appears that Rosberg is about 3 or 4 seconds behind Sebastian Vettel, and Hamilton is nowhere to be seen at this point. Jumping ahead to lap 6, Sebastian Vettel has now passed Felipe Massa and is into P2. Also, as you can see, Daniil Kvyat is currently running in P4, meaning the Mercs are nowhere to be seen, and it would appear that both Rosberg and Hamilton there might have clashed or something like that, gotten tangled up with one another, and probably suffered damage that required both of them to pit early, but I'm not really sure. What I do know for a fact is that we are leading the Grand Prix so far, and Sebastian Vettel, our teammate, is about a second and a half down on us. Jumping ahead to lap 8, we are now coming up on the first set of back markers here. It appears that Hulkenberg was involved in that pileup there on lap 1 in turn 1, where we saw one of the Saubers also suffering heavy damage. Nobody is retired from the race yet, though, as we are still 20 cars running. And like I said, Vettel's still immediately behind us. He has Massa directly behind him, and both are probably going to have DRS here on the long straight, but I don't think they're going to be in a position where they can put us under pressure or try and pass us here heading into turn 1. Jumping ahead to lap 11, it appears that Felipe Massa has lost pace dramatically and has dropped behind Nico Rosberg there, who has moved into P3 again. And he is currently about 4.5 seconds down on us and Sebastian Vettel, and is currently going quite a bit faster than we are. And heading into turn 1 here, as you can see, lots and lots of debris right here on the middle of the track, and out of the corner of my eye there to the right on that patch of grass, it appears that we had 2 cars parked, and it appeared to be a Lotus and a Mercedes. So at this point, a Lotus car and Lewis Hamilton, it would seem, are out of the race here at Bahrain, as we are down to 18 running cars. Jumping right ahead to lap 15 here, we still have Vettel to contend with directly behind us, but Rosberg now has closed the gap completely and is starting to put Sebastian Vettel under pressure. Also, our tires are definitely starting to suffer here, as we are about 3 laps away from our first pit stop, but we have been put under pressure by Vettel quite a bit here over the past 10 laps or so, and have had to put a lot more hurt on our tires than I would have liked to. So at this point, we are really feeling the effects. Skipping to lap 17 on the short DRS straight, Vettel having a look down the inside, but he has to back out of it. Rosberg takes advantage of that and moves into P2, and we are going to be put under pressure heavily from now on. And our strategy so far in this race has been to crank the engine into rich mode here for the back straight and the main straight, and then switch the engine back into mix 3 for the rest of the track. And it seems to have been working so far. Nobody's been able to pass us on the long straights there, even with the help of DRS. And by the looks of it there, both Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel are going into pit on this particular lap. We are going to be coming in on the very next one, and hopefully we are going to be able to rejoin the track ahead of the 2 cars there. And we are going to be making the switch for the prime tire here for the middle stint. Hopefully we're going to be able to make this set of tires last a little bit longer than the options there, because they were definitely suffering near the end. But also, like I said, Vettel was putting us under heavy pressure for quite a bit of time there, and our tires definitely suffered from that. Let's see if we're going to be able to rejoin here right ahead of Rosberg. We're going to be going side by side here, heading into turn 1, and we managed to keep him behind us and we have Vettel immediately behind Rosberg as well. So pretty much status quo here after the first pit stop. Jumping ahead to lap 24 here, no change overall. We still have Rosberg immediately behind us, putting us under pressure, but he has been unable to make that pressure count where he really needs to. That means on the straights, we are cranking the engine into rich mode as we have been doing so far, and it appears to be working. Also, Vettel immediately behind Rosberg is keeping pace with the both of us, and at this point, it is any man's race. Coming out again here on the main straight with the engine in mix 1, it appears to be giving us just the speed we need to keep Rosberg behind us. He's coming down on us here, rear wing open, DRS and everything. Gonna have a look down the inside here, but all he's able to do is get alongside us before having to put the brakes on heavily, and it appears that he actually crashes into us from behind there. As you can see on the mini-map, Vettel passes Rosberg, and Rosberg at this point is going very slow. Jumping ahead to lap 28, Rosberg has indeed been into pit. We have Vettel in P2 still, Kvyat now in P3, about 7 seconds down on us. And coming into this particular left-hander here, running a little wide here as our tires are starting to suffer about 10 laps into this stint, and that is definitely going to be bad news as this is supposed to be the long stint. But Vettel has been quite persistent and relentless so far in this particular race here and is not giving us any time to breathe. And as you can see, Rosberg putting in the fastest lap there. He is quite a bit of time behind us though, out on fresh tires now, and obviously he has some ground to make up. And again, this pretty much feels like Groundhog Day, except now, instead of having Rosberg breathing down our necks, we have Sebastian Vettel doing the exact same thing, trying to go down the inside there, but he is unable to make that move stick, thankfully. Skipping right ahead to lap 33 here, still tangling with Sebastian Vettel. We're coming into turn 4 with a couple of back markers ahead of us. And right on the exit here, just getting a little bit too much of the throttle on the set of half-dead tires here. That is all Sebastian Vettel needs. Moving down the outside of us there, and he is pulling away fast. Skipping right ahead to lap 34 here, Vettel about 3 seconds up the road right now. We are definitely feeling the effects of being put under pressure as heavily as we've been when it comes to tire wear. And also Vettel moving into the pits here on lap 34. It appears that he is on an option prime strategy as to where we are on an option prime option strategy. And coming in here on lap 39, we are going to be making the switch for a set of option tires here for the last stint. And hopefully that means we're going to be able to make up some time on Vettel, because he's been dramatically faster than us here after changing to the prime tire, and is probably about 10 or 11 seconds up the road. You just saw him pass us there on the main straight. Rejoining the track in second position, Rosberg is in third currently, but he is still a ways down the road. Jumping right ahead to lap 42 here, we are trying to close the gap on Vettel a little bit, but as you can see, he's already almost 12 seconds up the road. And also, Rosberg is currently closing the gap on us about half a second per lap. He's about 16 seconds down on us at the moment here, and I guess at this point, it's pretty much going to be about saving the tires as best we can and just get this car home and hopefully make it a Ferrari 1-2 and then worry about beating Vettel some other day. Also, Rosberg apparently has been in to make his final pit stop as he is currently about 36 seconds behind us. So we're sitting pretty here in P2. Jumping right ahead to lap 53 here, no real change overall. Things are still looking pretty good for the Ferrari team here in terms of points in the Constructors' Championship. Rosberg is still in P3. He has made up just a little bit of ground on us there, about 5 or 6 seconds, but overall at this point we seem to be matching pace with him quite nicely, and also we're matching pace with Vettel, which, as opposed to what happened in Australia on the last stint there, we got caned absolutely beautifully by the Mercedes team, losing about 2 seconds per lap. And also in Malaysia, things were not looking pretty either as we came to the last stint of the race here. So I guess so far this is probably the best we've been running all season. Jumping ahead to the final lap here, lap 57, Sebastian Vettel takes the win here at Bahrain. We are going to be sliding into the P2 slot there and are going to score maximum points for the Ferrari team here at the Desert Grand Prix. That is going to be very, very nice for the Constructors' Championship. Looking forward there. Also, a bit of a disaster for Mercedes. Nico Rosberg only manages to finish third here, and Lewis Hamilton is a DNF as he crashed out with one of the Lotus cars early in the race.
Brilliant driving, brilliant driving.
Anyway, like I said there, Nico Rosberg rounding off the podium in third. Valtteri Bottas coming into the P4 slot there, and Felipe Nasr of the Sauber F1 team is in 5th place there. A very nice result for him. And looking over the DNFs there, it appears that it was Pastor Maldonado who took out Lewis Hamilton from the race there. And I'm not really sure what happened. It appeared to happen right in the middle of the straight. There was debris all over the place, but it wasn't in the corner. It was in the middle of the straight, so I'm not really sure what happened there. Anyway, Drivers' Championship, Sebastian Vettel starting to run away with things a little bit here, but still lots of races to go, and anything can happen at this point. Constructors' Championship, bit of a surprise so far as the Ferrari team is leading ahead of the Mercedes team. They're 23 points ahead. Williams is in third, quite a ways behind. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to this channel for more F1 2014 action, and I'll be seeing you soon enough. Bye-bye.